Welcome to Recap of Aether, your one-stop shop to get a recap of everything that happened in the past week or so. I'm your host, both players, and let's get into it. This weekend has the biggest Rivals tournament so far, Genesis X2. Genesis is one of the biggest Smash tournaments that has turned into a big gaming convention. All your favorite Rivals players will be there, and even some of your favorite Smash players. And actually, you might see me, both players, there as well. If you're a newbie to the competitive scene, a really good video to watch is actually Saber's video on who can win Genesis X2. Here, Saber explains all the storylines, as well as who he thinks he can win, and everything you need to know before watching Genesis X2. If you want another take about who might win in Genesis, Proofblock also has another video discussing who he thinks is going to be the winner. From what I know, Proofblock is pretty into the competitive scene, so he has a lot of knowledge about what could happen. Fun fact, even though Void is here, I think I saw a tweet that said Void is no longer going to compete at Genesis. Very unfortunate. I wish he had a showing, but it is what it is. The next thing is there's only one more week left to get your Orcane skin. So if you were thinking about getting it, now is the time to get it. And also 50% of all the sales from the skin will be going to the Rivals 2 pot bonus. Currently the pot bonus is at 8,770, so you still got some time to build it further. If you're wondering who will be on commentary for Rivals 2, here's the list of all the commentators. We got a good mix of Ultimate commentators, Melee commentators, as well as Rivals commentators. So it's gonna be a fun watch. Top 8 is going to be cast by EE and Toph, which I think is a little funny because EE is primarily an Ultimate commentator and Toph is primarily a Melee commentator, but I think they both will add a lot to the commentary. Because I won't lie, even though I do love the Rivals commentators and they do eventually deserve the big screen, I think the professional and entertainment value that EE and Toph are going to bring is going to be nice to watch. And if you're going to be at the Artist Alley, I found a few artists that are going to be selling Rivals themed prints. Primarily, Raindrops and Dew is going to be selling this really sick print. Honestly, I love the composition. I love how cute Fleet looks, how awesome Loxodont and Forsburn look. I mean, this is just a great poster overall. And if you're like, well, I don't want the whole poster, I just want my main, they will actually be selling each individual character as well. So each of these character images will be printed as separate stickers, as you can see here. The next set of fan art that you can purchase at Genesis is actually from my own girlfriend. She made this really awesome Forsburn illustration that I really think shows the edginess and coolness of Forsburn. This is super sick. This bone mask turned out really awesome, and it's actually a companion piece to the Zetterburn illustration that I showed a couple weeks back, which is this right here. So ideally you can get both, and they're meant to be back to back. I think this is one of the most badass things that's ever come out of Rivals of Aether fandom. I'm not gonna lie, in Rivals 1, there has not been a lot of really good fan art. I think lately I've seen a lot more. I think that's just because Rivals 2 has a lot bigger reach. But these two are going to be available for purchase if you're going to Genesis. And if you're at the booth, you might actually see me. Next is the Twitter portion of the show, where I show some other fun things that I've seen in the Rivals community. For one, this person had this idea of an Orcane chain jump. I mean, this thing looks crazy. But because Ray said that they're not smart or talented or handsome enough to mod it themselves, they did a little drawing of the Orcane, which Orcane, that's such a good name, dude. Orcane. A chain chop Orcane with a chain tail, really cute. And someone actually went ahead and modded it in action. Look at this. This is freaky. I don't like it, but at the same time, I think it's great. Ew. Zany here, the one who made the mod, is deciding to call it Chompcane, which I disagree. It should be Orcane. Orcane or chain, that's way better, but at the same time, it doesn't really matter. I think this is great. Zany is also making an Among Us mod for Forsburn. That makes sense because the shadow clones are kind of like the imposters, I suppose. I think that's the logic here. This is crazy. This is crazy. I hate it. If you're unfamiliar with Zany, they do a lot of modding, and this is from last year, but I think this is really sick. Some mods that they already decided to put out, which are like Zero Clarin, Cap Orcane, and Basketball Crag. And once Workshop comes out and anybody can put these mods in, I think it's gonna be amazing. Next, the Thief of Light, also known as SDG Whist, well, I guess they're all of them, has made an algorithmic Rivals of Aether 2 ranking. They just use an algorithm to put in all the results and the matchups that all these players have made, and has algorithmically assigned ranks. Which, by the way, Keiko's score of 100 jumping down to 85 for second is kind of crazy. I think Keikosult has literally never dropped a set so far, which is insane. I think there was a tournament after this ranking where Keikosult lost to Marlin in a in an online tournament. I'm not entirely sure, but otherwise, this is a very impressive showing. What's really fun to see is that Spargo is on the top 3. I don't think Spargo is going to be competing in Genesis because he wants to focus on Ultimate, but I really do hope he takes Rivals seriously eventually. It's going to be really sick to see the King of Smash to become a contender for King of Rivals. And on another note, because there is not a lot of results for Marlon because he was banned when things were getting started in the Rivals competitive scene, he is not going to be on this list. However, I would not be surprised if he actually ends up being the new number 1 or number 2. Speaking of Marlon, here's a little funny tier list that he made, saying how many IQ points are required to play your character. No IQ points is my boy Locks, which, come on, I understand he's straightforward, but you need some IQ to play with the meatball, right? But I understand what he's saying. And also, honorable mentions, Rano and Zetterburn, which are the mashers of this game. 70 to 80 IQ, Orcane in here. That's so, wait, what is this? Wait, what is this tier list? Why are these so low IQ? I can kind of understand Crag, because you can just be monkey mode. But low IQ for Orcane, Forsberg, and Fleet? This is crazy. It's crazy that he put Clarin above. Clarin is average IQ over these guys? Holy. Top players are a different beast. Then Daedalus, because Daedalus is hard to play, but is also big and will punch people really hard. And then Rangunshu. I guess he just has a lot of respect for Rangunshu as a player, which is fine, because Rangunshu is an incredible Clarin. And then the high IQ, profoundly gifted, is Raster and Maple. Raster is really funny because Marlon plays Raster, I'm pretty sure. Raster and Orcane, so I guess he has the full gamut of IQ. But I do agree that both of these require a lot because they are both hard and do not have as much reward as the rest of the cast. I will say though, when I'm watching Marlon play Raster, I think it's crazy how good Raster can be. But we'll see what happens. Next is a little conversation that Marlon had with a bunch of other old Rivals heads. Long story short, a lot of old Rivals heads are not happy with how Rivals 2 is going, and Marlon gives his take, which is that he thinks that both games are a lot different and Rivals 2 was trying to be something entirely new compared to Rivals 1. He'd be lying if he said he didn't enjoy Rivals 1 more, because Rivals 1 he would be clocking in 8-hour sessions and not be tired, while in Rivals 2 he can only play like an hour or two before getting bored. But he understands that Rivals 2 is attempting to have a wider audience and broader appeal, which for the most part it has achieved. I think Rivals 2 already is way more successful than Rivals 1 ever was. So unfortunate for the Rivals 1 diehards, but fortunate for the rest of us who want to have a great platform fighter. Then Cheesy Potato, one of the best Crags in the world, has posted this meme, which is saying, guys, I'm starting to like crouch canceling. Hey, here's the thing. The more you get used to a mechanic, the better you think it is. So I think it's really funny that she is admitting that crouch canceling is maybe a good mechanic. Dan is showing off some of the DMs he gets, and this is on the heel of all the Clarin hate. Dan, you need to hire me and put me on the balance team. I don't think you know what you're doing. You woke up and designed Clarin. I like that he also sent this message like 10 minutes apart because he's like, you know what? I need to tell him why I think this. It's because of Clarin. All right, and some YouTube videos that you may have missed. For one, Last Stock has a video about some options that you might not be using in Rivals 2. These include using parry, capitalizing on parry, how to use your ledge specials better, ledge hogging in general, optimal recovery, platform movement, baby dashing, adaptations, etc. I think this is primarily to casual players. If you're a competitive player, you're probably already using these options, but this is mostly for people who are not seeing any improvements and a way to improve more substantially. Last Stock also gave you a video about Forsburn's matchup chart. I assume Last Stock is a Forsburn main, so he's giving his take on who he believes is a winning, losing, and even matchup. If you're a Forsburn player, I think this is a really fun video to watch just to get another player's opinion on everything. We have a video from Soul Bird Guy predicting the entire Rivals of Aether 2 DLC release schedule. Soul Bird Guy basically goes through a bunch of like previous Q&As as well as other promotional material to predict what he believes is going to be the release schedule and what characters will be released in those schedules. So a really interesting watch if you're looking forward to new DLC characters. And that's about it for today. I cannot do the Reddit recap part of the show because I'm actually recording this before driving to Genesis and I'm a little late and I gotta go there right now. This week has been a whole mess of things happening. My girlfriend's car broke down, so we had to go to the shop. Our cat went into shock because she has GI disease, as it turns out, and possibly, I think most probably GI cancer. So we had to bring her to the emergency, and it was a whole thing. I just did not have the bandwidth to like record a proper video, and I hope this I hope this video is enough until next week. Other than that, thanks for subscribing and watching. Because of you guys, I got accepted to YouTube's partner program, which is really exciting for me. Hopefully with this support, I will be able to do this for longer. Again, I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you guys next time.